Shazam.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for whoever will watch this afterwards. I'm so blessed to be here with Kelly and Alyssa as well. And we are here to talk about the pink drink, which there's now four different flavors, which is really exciting. Um, but Kelly, thanks so much for being here. It's just, I feel like I know you already because I watched so many of your stories and I just appreciate the knowledge that you come with and just the love for sharing these products with everybody. So, yeah, I guess first question, why is the pink drink pink?
It's a great question. I know the answer. It is all natural colored. When we talk about anything that has to do with Plexus, they don't use synthetic anything. Everything is from natural sources. Because I have had that thing like, well, your drink is great and all, but I don't do dye. I don't do food dye. Well, then we're in luck because it's beetroot powder, amongst other things. There's hibiscus powder, if I remember right, carrot juice powder. It depends on what flavor you're talking about, but beetroot powder is the majority of the where that color comes from. And if you look that up, it's got a whole myriad of health benefits associated with just that in the coloring. So leave it to Plexus, right?
I know. I love that. And I feel like I jumped ahead of myself. Kelly, why don't you just introduce a little bit of yourself? I was just like, oh, people
Sure.
might not know who you are and like your background. And yeah, just give us like a little synopsis of
Yeah, of
like
course.
who you
Okay.
are.
So I'm Kelly Hulst. I am in Grand Forks, North Dakota, so a little bit south of these ladies. But it's just a pleasure. It has been a real treat to get to know so many other people associated with the Plexus business. I'm a pharmacist by trade. I own my own pharmacy. I had two at one time. Now I'm down to one. I started out very, very skeptical about anything homeopathic, anything supplementation wise, just because that's how I was trained in school. And I'm not sure if the training programs have changed now, but I kind of doubt it because we all know who funds the medical fields and the pharmacy schools and the doctor schools and all the things. So we're very much trained in prescription medications and nothing else. So I came in very skeptical. I got wrapped up into the party I was invited to. You know, you go to a Mary Kay party and you're not leaving without the lipstick shade everybody's leaving with, right? And that's kind of what happened to me. I get very influenced and very into it. And I left signing up that night, driving home thinking, what in the world have I done? How am I going to explain this to my husband, what I have done? I know better than this, right? But he is all about trying new things, and especially when you're struggling. And my big so-called health goal was I couldn't poop. I mean, constipation has been my lifelong thing. And, it's not something you even really talk about, but my stars, I obviously knew how to control or how to manage that so-called symptom with drugs, with over-the-counter things. But I also knew that this is not a long-term solution. And it was a matter, it probably wasn't even a week before I was going to the bathroom on a daily basis, which was just like foreign to me. I thought being regular was going maybe once or twice a week, and I was having a good week. So when you, if you've struggled with that, you know what I'm talking about. You feel like a new person. And that was, I'm sold. I mean, if this is all this does, if it's all it does, I am 100% on board. And of course, the longer you take the products, the more things start to improve because again, so you're balancing your microbiome and your gut and all those things. And it really got me sparked with curiosity on what in the world is happening here. Why are these things working and what's making it tick? And why is it working for my issue? And why is it working for her autoimmune issue? And why is it helping
Mm,
A1Cs? And I don't understand any of this, which made me start digging. And it's just been a treat to, because that's who I am, right? As a pharmacist, I have to know what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of my story. And now 5+ years later, I'm still going strong and I've started sharing the products now and with my YouTube channel and trying to just educate other people that are open when traditional medicine's not working, when it's failing them miserably. Yeah.
yeah.
That was,
Oh, thank you so much.
anyway,
And
yeah.
I love your YouTube channel. I love your videos because I mean, I'm not a pharmacist by trade, and I am somebody who, like you said, you were easily influenced. You go to the Mary Kay party and you buy the lipstick. My husband was just telling me about this the other night that I am very easily influenced as well. And so I don't know, I didn't actually have a whole ton of questions when I first like drank my first pink drink. I was just like, meh, somebody told me it's good for me and I trust them.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm like gullible or just, but I love that there's people like you that know all of these big words and can make sense of it. And I've asked you so many questions just in like chatting with you, and I just really enjoy it. And I know Alyssa goes on to the sciencey side of things, and she is more bent that way too. And so it's just such a pleasure to have those people in my life. So, Alyssa, also, if you have any pink drink questions, feel free to ask them. I've written down some. So, how does, we talk about the pink drink, we talk about balancing blood sugars and all that kind of stuff. How does this do that? It's something so small.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how is it doing that?
Well, in a nutshell, I'll give you my story analysis. And if you watch some of my videos on this, my older ones, I kind of explain it, but chromium is really what I call like the magic when it comes to the blood sugar piece of it. You need chromium to allow insulin to get into your cell and glucose to get into cell to actually do the work, to do the things. If we have free floating insulin, and too much of it that's not like working, then our body just keeps secreting more insulin, which leads to this,
Mm,
right? Where our insulin's not sensitive, it's not doing the job. But chromium is like that key to get it into the cell so we can convert glucose into energy and all the things from our food. So without that, you can be eating well, you can be doing all the things, but without that chromium, which is a micronutrient that we just don't get in our food sources,
huh.
used to,
Okay.
right? So if you don't have it, you're going to have a problem. And it's chromium rich. And again, all of the Plexus things are bioavailable, which is, quality matters. Quality matters.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I hope that answered that kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So, chromium, where does it come from in the pink drink? Like, what is it derived from? Do you know about that?
I don't
Okay.
really.
Alyssa doesn't either. That's fine. What, I mean, what is chromium found in? In
Well,
like,
foods, in different foods, and I
okay.
can't give you like a list of things it's in, but it's just a micronutrient that is in,
Okay.
but we just don't get it enough to make a difference.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
There,
especially people that are prone to those issues already, right? Every body is different, and some of us may struggle more with the, blood glucose issues than others. But I think it's
mhm.
for everybody. I mean, whether, you hear people say, "Oh, I don't have blood sugar issues." If you eat, you got a blood sugar thing going on, right? If you eat, you got a blood sugar thing going on. These highs and
Right.
lows and all these things. I think even, when I talk to people about Plexus and about the Slim specifically, yes, it's a cornerstone product for a reason, right? It tackles
Mm,
three big pillars of our health, blood sugar stability being one of them. Even though Plexus has other things that also work on blood sugar stability, they come from different avenues and they just are paired so well together. And I think that's another thing Plexus does really, really well. So, in my opinion, everybody benefits from Slim, but if you're still needing additional support in that area, there are other products available to help in that area. Yeah.
what is your favorite thing about Slim? Like, as you've dug deeper into like the ingredients
Yeah.
about Slim, what is like, you're just like, man, this is just awesome that
Yeah.
this little drink
Mhm.
has this in it and I get it every day.
I know
What
the
what
answer
would
to
be
that.
that?
I divorce sugar. That is my biggest thing. I think, we
Mm,
can say, oh, it helps with blood sugar stability. It helps with cellular inflammation. It helps with gut health, but you don't always feel those things, right? But I can feel that I am not craving sugar like a maniac. I can tell that I can walk past the candy dish and not
Yeah.
eat half of it. I can have a piece of licorice without finishing the whole package. That was not my story 6 years ago. Sugar
Mm,
addict. I looked healthy on the outside, right? Weight's not been an issue for me. I never started them for weight loss, but man, I ate trash. I ate trash. I was living off sugar, Diet Coke. I don't crave any of that stuff anymore. And it's not that I don't enjoy it, but I can control
mhm.
it. I can control it now. So I think that for me and for many others is like a big deal because you notice that right off the bat. Plus, you just have better energy levels. You're not napping all the time. I have so many people, me being included, was one of these napper people, and I can't even remember the last time I needed a nap.
Yeah. That was me 4 months after I started. It was like I was solo parenting, 3 kids, two of them in diapers, one in like grade one, kindergarten. I sat down on the couch and I was like, wait a second. I didn't need a nap today. I was like, well, that's awesome. So, speaking of like cravings and different things like that, I had a friend ask, how soon do you notice your sugar cravings change with Slim? Because I have one friend, which was amazing. She's only been on it for, I think, maybe she's going on 2 weeks. And she's like, Ashley, I don't know if I'm like reading into things, but I feel like my cravings have changed. I was like, no, no, no. Like, you're not reading into things. Like, no, that's like legit. But I'm guessing it's dependent on every person is so different. But if somebody asked you that question,
I
what
think
would you say?
it happens fast. It happens fast. I think if people are really in tune to how they're feeling, if they're really in tune to like craving things, because we still have habits, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
break the habit. You may not be craving the cookie after every meal anymore, but it's your habit. So if you're tuned into like, do I really want the cookie? Like asking yourself that, I think
Mm-hmm.
within a day or two, people can notice that happening. But again, the flip side of it is if you go, I think if I remember right, what I read was if you skip even 5 days in a row of using the Slim, you're like back to square one. You're back where you started. That's why that consistency piece is such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Our body's using what we're taking in. The nutrients don't have this tremendous half-life like a drug does, where it stays in your body and stays for a long time, some drugs, but it's not like that with natural supplementation. That's why consistency is such a big piece. But yeah, back to your original question, I think it's very valid if you're listening to your body and
Mm,
doing or not doing, it's the habit thing. It's breaking the habits.
yeah. Well, and he even said too, I guess like my response was like, how much other sugars are you eating throughout the day? Because that candida feeds off of sugar and
Yes.
will want more sugar.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's all of those things too. But no, that's good to know. Um, okay, so there is a weight part of talking about slim and weight management. Can you touch a little bit on that and what part of, I guess, slim helps with people managing and maintaining body weight?
Mhm. I think the biggest piece there, and that really doesn't matter which one you're using when they did the studies, to my knowledge. The only reason they differ is the fiber in either the hunger control versus the microbiome. Yeah. So the hunger control being that polydextrose, I think especially for people who tend to overeat, it is very beneficial because that polydextrose gives you that satiated feeling going into a meal. So you're going to be miserable if you continue to overeat because you're already full when you start, right? But when it comes to the weight loss piece, they really do work the same there when they did the studies. They did the studies even on the microbiome. But you have to keep in mind that that has to do also with that blood sugar stability piece. It's just a really big deal. And again, when you're not craving all the garbage, your
Mm-hmm.
body's going to start craving food that actually nourishes it instead of crap. And when you can listen to your body and start getting in all your water, because water is so important for just how our bodies function too. Getting rid of waste. Everything's excreted that way too. We have to be getting rid of
Mhm.
the waste in our bodies, and it's all what I always say, circular in motion, and but yeah, when they did those studies, the people were on a Mediterranean diet, if I recall. So again, plexus is a big piece of the puzzle, but it's still one piece, right? You still
Right.
have to do
Yeah.
all the other things. You have to be exercising and you need to be changing your diet. But the nice thing is that you will want to start changing your diet because you're
Mm.
not going to want to be eating the garbage anymore. That's the beauty of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I told a lady the other day, I told her that, like, this these products have been a catalyst for change, which I really love. Like, I told her what I was having for lunch, one day, and I was like, "I don't think that would have been me, like, 2, 3 years ago." Not that, like, I didn't eat garbage, but I think I'm making choices to be more aware of just, like, where's my protein at? You know? And even just the different challenges and stuff that Plexus puts on, it's like, "Okay, how much sugar? Where like, what kind of sugar does this have in it?" Or, like, is it refined sugar? Like, just I guess just learning and growing, and if you choose, and because, yeah, if your body's not craving all that stuff, then it's like, then
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
have it's almost like you have, like, more of a control to make a different choice.
Yep. And education, I think, is such a big piece of this too. You have to understand what supplementation is and what it is not, right?
Mhm,
But yeah, it's a huge puzzle piece. Yeah, if you use it the way it ought to be used. And I think, yeah, education on all of it is such a big deal.
mhm.
It really is.
Okay, so I've heard, I feel like this is related to Slim, but maybe I'm wrong. Acromantia.
Mhm.
Can you
Yep.
tell us about that?
Yep. That would come into play with the microbiome activating. The prebiotic fiber in there is going to increase the amount of Akkermansia that you already have going on in your system by like 300 and some percent. If I remember, I mean, it's like incredible. But Akkermansia is, and if you Google like the benefits of that bacteria alone, it's mind-boggling. It is honestly staggering. And again, why isn't this being talked about? Are people just not
Mm,
interested or but it's huge. It's huge. And for us in our house, both my husband and I are totally sold out on the products. But people say, "Well, which variety do you drink?" And we're like, "Yes, both. See, all of the above." Because we have them in our house both all the time because they each have different benefits.
mm.
But that Akkermansia piece is huge. That prebiotic fiber. Mhm.
Okay, so the prebiotic fiber is in here. Is that XOS?
Yep.
Okay, so that I'm just for anybody that's watching, that's in the Slim Microbiome Activating. There are two different kinds. There's the Slim Hunger Control, which is you'll always get it's bigger. It's got that polydextrose, and this is the Slim Microbiome Activating. So you touched on they have two different purposes. Could you explain that a little bit more for us?
Yep. So the fight, like she said, the polydextrose is in the hunger control. Polydextrose is best. It's going to bind with water in your system. So in my opinion, ideally, you like drink a glass of water, then you mix up your Slim and you sip on your Slim for, I would say, about 30 to 45 minutes before your largest meal would
Ah,
be one option.
okay.
Again, because you go into your largest meal of the day, that polydextrose binds with water, it expands, it gives you a satiated feeling. You sit down to that meal, and your tendency to overeat is going to be less. If that's where you overeat. Now, I have people that are like,
Mhm.
it's not the mealtime, it's when I hit the couch at night and start like mindlessly eating. Okay, there we have it. That's your best time to be doing that. For others now, with this whole thing with the black cherry lime flavor, which they've found, is different and acting differently. Although the polydextrose is the piece that still is bound to that GLP-1 receptor business. Um, again, giving you that satiated feeling. So yeah, that's how that one works. As opposed to the microbiome, then we've got that XOS, that oleogosaccharide. I don't even try anymore. However, it's pronounced, but that one is a prebiotic fiber, which is important. and our body doesn't feed off of it, our bacteria feeds off of it. And we need to be feeding our good gut bacteria every day because it's that important. So again, prebiotic fibers are in many different foods, but if we can get it intentionally from our little pink drink, done, check it off the list. And again, it's been proven in the studies to do all the things. So yeah, it's a fantastic.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we're not talking about the Triblex, but when you have a prebiotic and you have an amazing probiotic,
Yep.
then you're just winning.
Double the magic, double the fun.
Okay. So you touched a little bit on timing because I find that that's a question that I get often is like, well, when do I take it? You know, I personally, like, I guess when I started, I decided to take my Slim Hunger Control at 10 o'clock because that's usually like when I would have a mid morning snack and I just, instead of having a snack, I just grabbed my Slim. What what would you recommend? I mean, you said they have two different purposes. So the one's going to help you with satiation, the other has a prebiotic in it. Like, is there a magic time?
In my opinion, no. I think it's most
Okay.
important that you just get it in. Just get it in.
Yeah.
And you know, the caffeine content is so negligible with the green coffee bean extract in that, you know.
Okay.
The chlorogenic acid is again what they're after out of this green coffee bean, but when it's not roasted, it's negligible. So even if you remember like late in the day and you're caffeine sensitive, it's not going to be an issue, most likely. Okay. And it wouldn't even make sense why that would be a thing for you, that caffeine. So just take it, just get it in. For some people, again, routine is like a big deal. So it's like, yep,
Mhm.
you're saying 10 o'clock, that's my time. If I forget it, then it's like off my radar.
Mhm.
But again, if it's hunger control, then it's, you know, then you might want to try and mess around with when you're using it to try and get the most benefit out of that aspect of it.
Yeah. That's really good to know. All right, we have 10 minutes left.
Yep.
Alyssa, do you have any questions?
One that I get asked all the time is, I'm not trying to lose weight. I need to gain weight. Should I be taking Slim? What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, you should. It's not going to have your you're not going to shed pounds if your body does not have the pounds to shed. And there are testimonials out there saying that. In fact, one gal that I know personally lives about 40 miles south of here. Same thing. She was thrilled because she put on 3 pounds, you know? So yeah, you need to be on the product regardless. If your body needs to put on weight, it will. If your body needs to shed weight, eventually it will. Again, it's all being in tune to that. And especially for people trying to lose weight, being in tune to what you're craving and what you're not craving anymore. But for people that are trying to gain weight, yes, it's still going to put you in a much better place to put on weight. Great question.
Just piggybacking off. Oh, sorry, Alyssa. I was going to piggyback off of that. So how then, I guess in maybe simple terms, how does this allow your body to gain weight? Like, is it just because, you know, some people lose and some people gain? Is it just because of that blood sugar balancing and because that is directly linked to our hormones and that's like
I really
all the
think it
things?
is. I really think it is. I can't definitively
Yeah,
like give
yeah.
you science on that, but yes, I do think it's very much tied into that.
Okay. Which is just so cool. I
Mhm.
just like God's just made our bodies so wild and that they're all just
I
this
know.
is connected. Anyway, Alyssa, you were going to say something.
I was just going to hop in following again off that as well. So during pregnancy and breastfeeding, what are your thoughts on the Slim during that?
It's perfectly safe. I mean, if you have something where your doctor is like completely against it for a particular reason, I'm not going to argue with that. But I know for a fact that if you're getting a no from your practitioner, it's because they don't know anything about the product. And I can say that because I was that person, right? I was trained to say, no, you shouldn't be taking this. It's not proven. It's not da 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 da. Well, it's because I knew nothing about it. And that was just our pat answer that we were taught to do. So if you have a person that's saying, well, my doctor told me I really can't take this, I would direct them to ask the question, what ingredient did you have an issue with? And they won't be able to tell you. And I think that's very telling. Okay. And I'm not shaming them because again, I was that person that was doing the same thing. But no, the people that I know, friends of mine and whatever, that have taken it to their practitioner, that know about the product, are all over it. They're like, this is phenomenal. This is great. Don't stop taking this. And again, because not only are you nourishing your body and putting you in a better place, but you're passing that microbiome onto your child, right?
Mhm.
Which is huge, huge. You're setting them up for a much better birth and all of it, just all of it. Mhm.
Yeah, which is amazing. Which
Yeah.
is awesome.
We all know people
All
that
right.
have their preplexus and their postplex. This is my baby I had before I started, and these are my children I had after, and their health pictures
That's me.
completely different. Yep.
That was me. I started 7 months along with my fourth, and I would never go back.
Yeah.
I love that. I did not get the opportunity to be pregnant and then, well, I was postpartum and I'm very thankful. I mean, and what woman can't use some blood sugar balance when her body's going through all of the things? Like, oh my word. I mean, I feel like Slim just touches on so many things. Like, we could be here all night. But anyway, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
But Kelly, thank you so much for being here, Alyssa for being here, and anybody that's watching, always feel free to shoot us a question. Or I know that Kelly is so good with answering questions and just generous with her information and her YouTube channel. Just search Kelly Hulst and you'll find a plethora of things and her just sharing her knowledge, and it's just so good. So yeah,
All
thanks
right.
for being here.
All right. Good night, ladies. Thank
Good
you.
night.